Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Mattel Jurassic World Ultimate Damage figure. This is the second figure in this line, the only other one so far. This is the Scorpios Rex, and this is probably the better of the two, I would say, because the Indoraptor was just a reused figure, kind of altered into an Ultimate Damage release. However, this one is like a brand new figure as far as the pose and appearance and sculpt and everything. So that makes this one, in my opinion, superior. It's also actually $5 cheaper, as the Indoraptor is $35, but the Scorpios Rex is only $30. But you can see the packaging here on this one is pretty much the same as it was for the Indoraptor, and the back of the packaging as well is pretty much the same, again showing off the action feature for the Scorpios Rex, and then again an image down here showing off the Epic Attack Spinosaurus as well as the Indoraptor, which we have already reviewed. So let's pop the box open and check it out. So here is our brand new version of the Scorpios Rex, and I can instantly tell you this is definitely my favorite Scorpios that Mattel has released so far. I feel like everything about this figure is a massive upgrade compared to the older one. It is honestly quite gorgeous here in person. So if we get a nice closer look here at the head sculpt, first of all, we can see the head sculpt looks pretty good. You've also got some really nice fine detail, nice variation to the scales. You've got finer scales up here, a little bit larger scales back here, pretty decent looking skin texture here for the lower jaw as well. Another area that is a massive upgrade on this figure are the teeth. You can see the teeth now have that much more genuine sharp look to them. They also have a way cooler look with the interlocking teeth than the older interlocking teeth did. Overall, I think it also resembles the Scorpios a bit nicer than the previous versions did. I'm also a big fan of the coloration that we have, as we have this darker tone that moves down and very smoothly transitions to this lighter tone, but you can see it actually starts to transition here on the upper part of the, like the upper jaw. Right as we approach the upper jaw, it starts to transition, and that looks really nice as well. I don't know if we're going to be able to open the mouth without the action feature occurring. Okay, so maybe we'll wait to look at the inside of the mouth when we actually activate the action feature and stuff at some point soon. But as you lead back, you start to see all of those bumpy osteoderms and stuff throughout the course of the neck. We can also see the quills on the top of the head, something that the older Scorpios Rex figures were missing, were the quills. So as you can see, nice flexible quills are now present on the top of the head of this new version of the Scorpios Rex. As we lead back, we continue to have that lighter brown tone moving along the underside of the neck down into the chest. We can also see the darker tone following along the upper part, kind of like a dark brown. It's like a very weird tone of color, but I really quite like it. But what's cool is as we continue to lead back, we start to pick up more of those very bumpy osteoderms, but they've actually painted those out and given them a different tone of color. They have like a similar brown actually to what we have for the underside of the Scorpios, but all of these little osteoderms appear to have paint. It would have been neat to see it continue on like back here into the thigh. It only seems to have this going on in this area, but it is what it is. At least, it's an improvement regardless. Moving along the back, you can see the scutes and everything following along the spinal column of our Scorpios. As we lead down into the arm, you can see the arms are very muscular looking. We also have some quills coming off of the back of the elbow, which are also quite flexible, which you can see. And again, the skin texture and everything leading down looks pretty good. You've got really nicely sculpted hands with very creepy looking fingers, and then we have the nails here sculpted out, and they actually kind of almost appear to have paintwork to them. I can't tell if it's just the gloss coat making it look like they actually have paint, but either way, it looks really good the way it is, and definitely, again, a massive improvement for this figure. Absolutely loving everything about this Scorpios, and as you can see, the arms move really nicely here. A little bit tight as far as the articulation goes, but still fairly smooth. And then you also, again, have the ability to articulate the opposing side there. As you move back, you can see that brown tapers off on the underside in the chest area, so then we don't really have any more variation of color to the underside of the Scorpios. But you can see the skin texture continues to look absolutely phenomenal here in the side of the stomach, with the really nice looking scale detail, and then a whole bunch of kind of like skin wrinkles and stuff as you lead up from the underside into the lower part of the stomach. As you lead back, you can see the muscle definition in the leg looks really quite nice in both the thigh and calf, nicely defined. You have another cluster of those osteoderms here on the thigh. Again, I wish they would have been painted, but it's not the end of the world. You also have the knee sculpted out right there very nicely, and as you lead down, you've got a pretty decent looking foot sculpt here. You can see the dew claws and everything sculpted out, and again, the nails have a little bit of a satin shine to them. It's hard to tell if they have actual nail paint, but they look pretty good. We do also have a swivel in the ankle, as well as, of course, your standard forward and back leg articulation for a Mattel release. Same deal with both legs. They don't come out away from the body, it doesn't seem, though. As you lead out into the tail, you can see the skin texture, again, continues to look pretty good, leading the entire way out here into the tail, sporting some very nice quills as we lead out there toward the tip. I don't know. Yes, okay, there is a little swivel that you can articulate right there as well. Of course, on the opposing side, it's going to look pretty much the same, except for the positioning of the limbs is obviously quite different, as the arm is kind of placing its hand basically down on the ground. On this side, you also have this leg taking a step forward compared to what we see on the opposing side. We also have the damage feature on this one, so let's go ahead and give that a whirl. Definitely looking really fun, just like it did on the Indoraptor. So I'm going to go ahead, dim the lights completely again so we can take a look at it in the dark to get a better feel for it. So that definitely looks really cool. It doesn't run up into the neck, though, like it did on the Indoraptor. Basically stays contained to the torso, the midsection of our Scorpios. But it definitely looks super, super cool. We also have the fax app code here if you would like to add this one to your collection. There you go. You can do that now. And then we've also got one other action feature. Basically, you just press the head down, and as you can see, the jaw opens, which gives us some more noises, but also lets us have a chance to look at the inside of the mouth, and you can see a really beautifully textured tongue in there. And I just accidentally hit the button on the side of the Scorpios, but a nice pinkish tone in there, beautiful gloss coat as well on top of everything. Looking very, very nice on the inside of the mouth of our Scorpios Rex. As far as a size goes for this new version of the Scorpios, lengthwise, you're looking at about, if we can keep it still, about 14 3/4 inches, maybe just shy of 15 inches, or around 37.5, heading toward 38 centimeters. The highest point would be the tail, about 6.5 inches, or 16.5, maybe actually closer to 17 centimeters to the top of the quills on the tail, and then to the top of the head, about 6 inches, or a little over 15 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our brand new version of the Scorpios Rex. And you can see it's got a pretty decent size to it, but it definitely isn't the largest of the Scorpios Rex figures that we've had. And for another comparison to show you that, here is the new Scorpios with the older Scorpios. This was the larger version that had come out. And no, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. It really does have a pink body, because this is actually a prototype of the older version that I was lucky enough to get my hands on. So one of the very cool, probably the coolest of the prototype figures that I have in my collection, which I've actually been considering making a video on some of the prototypes. I don't really have a whole lot, but it is always fun to look at that kind of stuff. But you can see what the older one looked like compared to the newer one. Obviously, it was a bit larger. And then we've got a nice shot here with the Indoraptor and Scorpios Rex from the Ultimate Damage line next to each other, and you can see they're pretty much the same size. Maybe the Indoraptor is slightly larger, which is kind of confusing as to why the Indoraptor costs $5 more than our Scorpios Rex does, but I mean, it is what it is. Either way, the Scorpios is, in my opinion, the superior of the two figures. We also have a comparison with a Mattel Velociraptor and Dilophosaurus, just kind of trying to help give you even more of an idea of the size. We've also got a standard Wild Roar size figure with the more recent Parasaurolophus offering from Mattel. And one final comparison with an extreme damage T-Rex next to our Scorpios, just to kind of help iron out one final idea of the size. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic World Ultimate Damage Scorpios Rex figure is super cool and is definitely the best Scorpios Rex to come from Mattel so far. I feel like they made some pretty massive improvements on this new version, you know, over the older version. It just generally looks a lot better. I also really love the colors of this one. I think the coloration also looks a lot nicer on this figure. And again, even though it's not absolutely overloaded with paint, you know, really the Scorpios in the show isn't really that overloaded with colors, so it works out quite nicely. I also love the addition of the quills on the top of the head. The satin shine on all of the nails looks so good, making it look like it actually genuinely does have nail paint, which again is a massive plus for this figure. The articulation is pretty smooth. Overall, I mean, it works about as good as you would expect it to. The action features are also pretty fun. Again, the Ultimate Damage action feature itself is nothing that people are going to go crazy over, but it's as fun as it gets when it comes to a light-up effect, I think. And then you also have the ability to kind of activate a attack with the head, which is also pretty fun. It's also got some pretty cool noises on top of everything, and an incredibly highly detailed sculpt, giving us, again, as I said, the best Scorpios we've had from Mattel so far. So if you are interested in picking this up and adding it to your collection, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that on Walmart's website, or you can, of course, check in store at Walmart as well. One way or another, definitely worth picking up. Make sure you do that, and of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.